At some point in your life, you've probably belonged to a group or community that turned out to be different than it intended. Perhaps because the purpose was cloudy. You thought the 10 of you were getting together to smoke cigars and play golf. In reality, the goal was to build a new library and mega donor was written on your head. Or maybe the community didn't develop because of the people. The very people who joined sabotaged the process, especially if they weren't sure how they fit into the bigger picture. A lot of communities are different than what they want to be because the purpose is unclear or the people unsure. Which means on the flip side that a community can go to a whole different level when the people who make up the community are crystal clear on their identity and their purpose. We've been talking about 5.2's 6 chief parts, the fuel that moves the movement. Part 1 was Jesus. Last video we talked about part 2, identity. And this session, part 3, community. Jesus is the why that shapes who we are, and when a group of people united in Jesus and growing in how His presence in their lives has uniquely shaped them for kingdom good, then incredible, powerful community develops. The first 3 parts of 5.2's developmental process, Jesus, identity, community, all flow into each other. When you and I are clear on who Jesus made us to be, what our kingdom identity is, it raises the ceiling for everyone in our lives. A phrase I use puts it like this: the best way to experience Jesus is in a community of Jesus followers. I can read about Jesus on the pages of the Bible. I can learn of Him through song and word. But to experience His real presence calls for me to experience His presence in His people. Trusting His forgiveness flows from receiving that forgiveness from His people. When I celebrate the sacraments of baptism and Lord's Supper in community with other sons and daughters of Jesus, more than celebrating Jesus' presence, His Spirit is forming me into Jesus' presence. He's preparing me to be His sacrament with and for and to others. Let me tell you quickly 2 huge benefits of that community. One is relationships that lead to courage. This is the plural you of the New Testament. This is how being church is not an individual sport. This is the reality that your experience, good or bad, when shared in the context of following Jesus, brings me wisdom for how I need to walk. When I'm in relationship with others under the lordship of Jesus, I discover a courage for facing the dark alleys of life. The other huge benefit of this type of community is camaraderie that leads to how. Throughout life, you and I are faced with the how question. When Jesus followers live in community, each growing in how Jesus has uniquely knitted her or him together, then your knowledge, your gifts, your talents become mine. I don't need to be an ear when you're such a great one. You don't need to worry about running well when that's my forte. My strength becomes yours. Your know-how becomes mine. So this type of community brings me camaraderie that leads to how and relationships that lead to courage. Here's another way of saying it. Biblical communities do not gather for themselves, but rather to celebrate His presence in the sacraments and to be a sacrament for others. Biblical communities in 5.2 gather to live out sacramental faith, respect for all, and to be action-oriented followers of Jesus. And when those people are maturing in their walk with Jesus, understanding His exclusive call in their lives and how He has formed and shaped them for that call, and then sharing that call with the body of Jesus, that, friends, is community.